Are you in touch with Kenya? Has your relationship changed based on what happened?
I have not spoken to Kenya since around the time that whole thing happened.
Okay.
And, that's really kind of a sad situation for me because I was there to just support her.
Just when you thought things had cooled down in the ATL, Cynthia Bailey steps back into the spotlight and she is not holding back. Cynthia's been mostly quiet since her split from Mike Hill, but now she's ready to speak, and let me tell you, she's got a lot to say. In a brand new interview, Cynthia opened up about everything from her strained friendship with Kenya Moore to this surprise new man who's got everyone talking. Apparently, things between her and Kenya never fully healed after Cynthia left the show. Cynthia admitted that while they tried to stay close, Kenya started pulling back, especially once the cameras stopped rolling. That hurt Cynthia more than she expected. She said she started noticing the energy shift at events and even in private conversations, and y'all, she did not sugarcoat it. Then there's that event meltdown where Cynthia was barely acknowledged, and insiders claim Kenya even shaded her publicly. And now, Cynthia might be finding healing in a whole new time zone. That's right, she was recently spotted cozying up to a European entrepreneur while vacationing in Italy. A few sources close to Cynthia say this man has been in her life for a few months now, and he's nothing like Mike. Stick around because we've got receipts, reactions, and the real tea Cynthia just spilled, so don't blink.
My thoughts are, I have to bring it back to myself. I would never ever do business or bring on the show to film anyone's baby daddy, anyone's husband, anyone's boo, at this point, anyone's cousin. If you're related to one of these ladies on the show or connected to them in any way, I just personally wouldn't bring them on to film.
Let's rewind to where it all started because Cynthia just made it crystal clear she's done staying silent. It all went down at a salon event, a big moment for Kenya Moore, meant to be a glamorous showcase for her new business venture. But things turned quickly. What should have been a night of celebration turned into yet another dramatic showdown. Cynthia showed up ready to support Kenya, hoping it would be a step forward in their friendship, but instead of unity, Cynthia says she felt like a stranger in the room. Kenya barely acknowledged her, there was no warm welcome, no appreciation, just cold energy and a spotlight that somehow dimmed the second Cynthia entered. She later admitted in her interview, "I just felt like it was beneath her, and I told her that." That line wasn't meant to cut, but to be honest, Cynthia's always been about uplifting women, especially her friends. But that night, she said it felt like Kenya let the drama take over, and she walked away not just from the event, but from trying to repair something that no longer felt mutual. But here's where it gets even messier, because Cynthia says she hasn't heard from Kenya since. No calls, no texts. Cynthia didn't just ghost the friendship, she actually tried. She reached out more than once. According to her, she sent a few texts, left a voicemail, even tried connecting through mutual friends. But silence, that was the answer she got. In her own words, "I still care about her, but I had to step back." That part hit hard. You could see in her face that the love for Kenya is still there, but Cynthia realized she couldn't keep putting herself in that same cycle. And fans definitely had something to say. One fan tweeted, "Cynthia deserved better. Kenya forgot who was riding for her when nobody else did." Another one wrote, "Kenya's always been messy. Cynthia's just finally choosing peace." It's clear Cynthia's no longer chasing friendships that leave her feeling unseen. She's back on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but this time on her own terms. Cynthia came back not as a full-time peach holder, but as a friend of the show, and she made sure people knew it wasn't a step back, it was a choice. She didn't want to dive back into the drama pool full-time. Instead, she wanted to stay connected to the Atlanta family while also focusing on her acting. And let's not forget, Cynthia isn't new to playing the long game. She's one of the few stars who stayed relevant and respected. Fans still joke about the iconic friend contract she once made Kenya sign, and now it feels full circle. She's balancing Hollywood projects, appearances, and her return to Atlanta life without the chaos. But don't think for a second that means she's done speaking her truth.
I hold my friends to a standard. Kenya is a woman of class. I just felt like it was beneath her, and I was a little disappointed in how she responded.
Kelly, the newest face on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and from the moment she stepped into the mix, Cynthia said something just clicked. The two instantly bonded over their shared Pisces energy. Cynthia called it cosmic, even joking that it felt like they'd known each other for years, even though they'd only just met. This wasn't your typical forced Bravo friendship. Cynthia made it clear this one felt real. She loved Kelly's calm vibe, her wit, and her ability to keep it cute even when things got messy around her. For Cynthia, who's been through her fair share of shade and side eyes, Kelly was a breath of fresh air. She even said in her interview that filming scenes with Kelly reminded her why she still enjoys being a part of the showbiz. And it's not just Kelly. Cynthia gave major props to the entire revamped cast. She praised the new energy this season, saying it felt organic and less forced than some of the past years. According to her, the group dynamics didn't feel like they were being puppeteered behind the scenes. It was real personalities clashing and connecting naturally. Still, Cynthia acknowledged the shift between the OGs and the newcomers. While some longtime fans are still attached to the original crew, Cynthia believes it's time for the show to evolve, and she's here for it. She said the blend of fresh faces and iconic names might just be what saves the franchise from falling into the same old formula. But y'all know Cynthia can't avoid all the chaos, and she's got thoughts on the other drama too. Let's talk about Drew. Cynthia didn't hold back when asked about Drew bringing Dennis into the mix. She laughed and said baby daddies hit differently, but also made it clear that bringing an ex into the group setting isn't something she'd ever choose to do. But what really got to Cynthia was seeing the strain between Shamia and Portia. She admitted it made her sad. Fans who've watched since the early seasons know how tight those two once were. When asked about Portia showing up late, she's always on Portia time. And Cynthia said she's always on Portia time. It wasn't mean-spirited, just classic Cynthia keeping it honest but classy. She respects Portia's hustle, but doesn't deny that sometimes the delays affect the group's flow. And just when fans thought it couldn't get juicier, one iconic peach made her comeback. Yes, that moment. Phaedra Park stepped back onto the reality TV scene, and Cynthia had plenty to say about it.
They are definitely going through some issues in their friendship, and it's hard to watch because, you know, they've been friends for so long, and I think that you know, that matters. I feel like, you know, they're so close. I mean, from like, I don't know, like middle school, like it's been a long ride for them. And I'm hoping that they will get on the other side of it. I really hope this is just a moment that they're going through and they'll figure it out. But you guys have to watch all of that play out because it is going to definitely play out on the show.
Though her appearance was short, Cynthia said the impact was huge. Phaedra came in with that signature shady charm and left fans buzzing with just a few lines. Cynthia admitted she was surprised how quickly the audience lit up over her return, and she understood why. Love her or not, Phaedra knows how to stir a room with just a look and a confessional quote. Behind the scenes, Cynthia gave us a little tea too. She confirmed that production was very intentional about bringing the magic back this season. From who got invited to events to where the cast filmed, producers weren't just relying on drama, they were crafting nostalgia. Cynthia hinted that we might not have seen the last of Phaedra either. While nothing is confirmed, she said the door definitely isn't closed and left it at that.
I just didn't want that to be her moment. I didn't. And when I was, you know, in the scene, you'll see it play out. You know, I say that you're just better and bigger than this, and I just don't want to be here. Like,
now hold up, because just when we thought Cynthia was focused on friendship, she dropped a love bomb on us. Yup, Cynthia Bailey is off the market again, and this time she's looking way beyond Atlanta. Cynthia confirmed she's dating a musician based in Amsterdam, and she couldn't stop smiling when she brought it up. Cynthia says they met organically while she was in Europe for an event, and things just grew from there. They've been keeping it private, not because they're hiding, but because Cynthia wants to protect the peace she's finally found. She talked about how this relationship feels different, no pressure, no drama, no spotlight, just real connection. After everything she's been through, marriage, divorce, long-distance love, public heartbreak, this new chapter seems to be all about ease. And fans have noticed. Social media has been full of love for Cynthia's glow-up, with comments like, "Cynthia looks like peace personified. This man across the pond better treat her like the queen she is." But even with the joy, Cynthia's been clear she's taking her time. She's not rushing into labels or headlines. She's dating, she's happy, and most importantly, she's focused on her. And after watching her give so much to others on the show for so long, it's refreshing to see her pour into herself. But the real gem from Cynthia, it wasn't just tea, it was a whole life lesson. One thing Cynthia has always stood on is grace, and in her latest interview, she reflected on how much she's learned from being in the public eye. She admitted she hasn't always gotten it right, but her growth, that's what makes her one of the most respected names in the show's legacy. Cynthia said, "Nobody likes to be wrong, but when you are, say it. Mean it. That's how you grow." And that honesty is what's kept her fan base strong all these years. Even when things got messy, Cynthia always kept it real. She didn't throw shade just to trend, and when she hurt someone, she owned it. She also opened up about how important it is to give grace not just to others, but to yourself. Whether it's handling failed friendships or heartbreak, Cynthia's approach is about healing, not hate. That's why even when fans are divided over drama, Cynthia tends to stay in everyone's good graces. She's been intentional about choosing what to engage in, who she gives her energy to, and how she responds when things go left. That mindset has helped her stay centered, and that's what makes her return to the show feel so grounded. So whether it's a friendship on pause or a romance in Amsterdam, Cynthia is living her truth. Now we gotta hear from you. Do you guys think Cynthia and Kenya can ever repair their friendship? And are we shipping her new boyfriend or what? Drop a comment below and make sure to subscribe so you never miss the latest tea.